I think making art at its core is about inquisitive inventiveness. With a childlike attention, the artist notices what others overlook and wonders about unseen possibilities. Then, with meticulous labor, they transform raw materials into something that's, hopefully, extraordinary to intrigue and affect the viewer. In this video, I'll talk about the artwork I've made lately, which has dealt with a range of topics including impermanence, philosophers' suggestions for how to lead a good life, and questions about the ways humans are changing because of our deepening relationship with technology. I have used AI quite a lot over the past couple of years to generate images and short films, and those projects will be the main focus of the video. I want to start by introducing you to a few characters I've created with AI. These clips show the caretaker Alice and Jenny, who I think of as virtual actors in the films I've been making lately. But my background is in sculpture, which is far afield from creating film with AI. So I'll begin with a high-level overview of the journey I've taken as an artist over the past 15 years to put my current use of AI in a broader context. I will use an AI avatar throughout this video. Given the nature of my current work, I thought this would be a fitting way for me to appear on screen. In 2009, I began a body of work that examined conflicting narratives about mortality that come from science, philosophy, and religion. This series included a sculpture about the death of Socrates, a project about whether early hominids had souls, a kinetic sculpture that addressed the limitations of our mental models, a series of digital prints that showed an AI having an existential crisis, and a project that juxtaposed a famous train wreck with Kepler's failed model of the solar system and the death of Archimedes, as a way of contemplating the power of momentum. Computer-aided design, or CAD, became important in my work around 2010. At first, I used it to plan sculptures that I would later build by hand, but then I began using CAD to make photorealistic renders of virtual forms. Before moving on to the next body of work, I want to mention that my contemplation of mortality persists. In my office, I have a mortality calendar based on the typical U.S. life expectancy of 76. Each row represents 1 year. Every Monday when I arrive at the office, I darken a box to show that 1 week has passed. Maybe, if you're like my wife, you feel this is too grim. I do it to keep perspective and remember to use my time carefully. After finishing the body of work about mortality, I started thinking about how I could explore the other side of the coin and ask questions about the best way to live. At that time, I was looking at a lot of vanitas paintings, which come from 16th century Netherlands. These still life paintings were meant to teach about ephemerality of life and remind the viewer about the importance of spiritual development. What's so interesting to me about these paintings is that many are painted in such a rich and succulent way that they seem to lead a viewer to temptation. This tension between higher aspirations and lower base human desires shows the complexities of the human condition. So I decided to make a series of vanitas-inspired images using CAD. The first in this series was a kind of didactic message to myself to resist indulgences and remember that all of the goals I strive for in my profession and fitness are ultimately fleeting. Then I made a series of these images where I studied famous thinkers' suggestions for how to lead a good life and represented their ideas symbolically. Epicurus said that true happiness comes from simple pleasures and a tranquil mind. Mary Wollstonecraft teaches us that everyone should have access to resources of self-realization, like education, and it's important to speak truth to power. From Seneca, we can learn about self-control through rational reflection. Aristotle's philosophy tells us that food, water, and wealth are good as a means to an end. Having these things enables us the conditions to work toward higher goods like friendship, knowledge, and love. Aristotle also instructs that our final cause is to achieve a rich, contemplative, intellectual life. And finally, virtues of character, like bravery and temperance, can only be cultivated through extended practice, like a boat builder learns their trade through a lifetime of training. The Buddha taught that the self is not a distinct entity, but instead exists as part of a complex system. From Horace, we can learn that instead of chasing wealth, we should dine with friends at a simple table. Spinoza said that we need to understand and live in accordance with nature and the way things are. He said, "Not to ridicule, not to bemoan, just to understand. Donna Haraway says that to avoid dangerous misunderstandings, we humans have to give up a sense of control and centrality and re-examine our assumptions about culture, nature, and technology. This project is about Zayla, who is not a famous philosopher. She is my daughter, and from her I learned about the intense beauty of children and the profound responsibilities of parenting in an unpredictable world. I've included this image just to show what the underlying virtual geometry looks like. Although the finished result looks very real, it's a completely fabricated illusion. In the field of contemporary visual art, instead of calling oneself a sculptor or painter, many, like me, choose to simply call themselves an artist, and then define their practice by the ideas they explore. The openness of this approach allows me to experiment broadly with a variety of media and keeps me excited in the studio. In 2018, extending from the Vanitas series, I began a virtual reality project about Ernst Haeckel, who was a scientist and artist that lived in the 1800s during Darwin's era. His work had a strong influence on the Art Nouveau movement. My project was a series of rooms the viewer could explore that symbolically interpreted Haeckel's life and work. The experience culminates in a moment where the viewer climbs a hill to encounter Haeckel's radiolarians. He diagrammed these microscopic organisms obsessively over the course of his life, and they're included in this prominent way to highlight Haeckel's edict that we should study and be transformed by the profound beauty of the art in nature. One of the final projects I created before becoming immersed in AI is this digital sculpture. It was inspired by the Buddhist parable of the tiger and the strawberry, symbolizing the human struggle as we are trapped between the tiger, representing old age, and the snake, representing sickness, while the mice, symbolizing time, gradually erodes our support system. This story underscores the urgency of the present moment. A few years ago, methods of generative AI became widely available. As I experimented with models like vqgan+clip, I learned that these neural networks were trained on every available image from the internet. So the models have seen everything humans have ever encountered, made and imagined: sports, oceans, weddings, houses, factories, water bears, supermarkets, animals, prisons, memes, food, spaceships, etc., etc. Since I've explored the human condition in other projects, and because I have an overactive imagination, I started to imagine having a conversation with a sentient AI from the future and asking it to create a series of images to show the complexities of the human experience. But obviously, artificial superintelligence isn't here yet, and my experiments with asking current forms of AI directly to make images of the complexities of human experience gave predictably dull results. I found a solution in science fiction author Ray Bradbury's book, Zen in the Art of Writing, where he advises writers to make lists of things they fear, love, and hate in order to find emotionally charged subject matter. I decided to use generative AI to create images that show the contradictory extremes that define the contemporary human experience. I did this by making a giant spreadsheet with all the positive, life-affirming aspects of existence I could think of, all negative, destructive forces in our world, and various other things I find highly charged in some way. And I had the spreadsheet give a series of word clusters, which I then fed into the generative AI to make 20,000 images. Then the task was to sort through the images and find the ones that best juxtaposed the contradictory extremes of contemporary experience. The final collection consists of 850 images. I was surprised at how laborious the editing process was. Eventually, all the images start to look the same, so I had to work in short bursts. Professor Josh Stove helped me write the Python code to automatically find interesting images, those that show the most unusual items, and I used that code to pre-filter the images for a while, but eventually put it aside because I felt it was missing too many successful images. Then I tested Midjourney. It was much better than any generative image model I had used previously. I found that I could within 30 seconds crank out an image with Midjourney that looked as good as the vanitas images I spent months making. And to be honest, I got pretty depressed about this for a while because I felt that all of the skills I had worked so hard to acquire over many years were now meaningless. If anyone can create a similar result with the push of a button, then why should an artist bother? Eventually, I decided to use Midjourney in a project to see what I could do with it. I used it to create a body of work about the posthuman condition, the way that humans are changing because of our growing relationship with technology. Some of the central questions I explored in the project are, because of our relationship with technology, how will human form and identity change? What might we gain and lose as we further merge with technology? What are the possible outcomes for society at large? And what new forms of transcendence may emerge? Anthony Servino, the sculpture professor at Dickinson College, invited me to stage a solo exhibition in Goodyear Gallery. I installed that show in January 2024. I titled the exhibition Viridian Fractal Supernova, which is a composite of a few different elements. Viridian is a color that's included in one of my prints. Fractal is an infinite pattern that makes me think of the algorithms at work in AI. Supernova is a stellar explosion that occurs at the end of a star's life cycle. Together, the words in the title allude to the process of collaborating with AI to create art about paradoxes of the post-human condition, with a sense of infinite possibility amid an uncertain future. To underscore the increasing digitization of humanity, I wanted the exhibition to extend into virtual space, so I created a 3D model of the gallery and displayed an expanded series of projects there. This is a desk from the year 2050 for those who will be unemployed because of AI. I know it's dystopian, but I imagine people reclining in these chairs doing auto-Turk work like completing CAPTCHAs and other mind-numbing tasks, trapped in a purgatory of tedium at the edge of sleep. I made these sculptures algorithmically as a way of representing machine intelligence in 3D form to complement the images in the exhibition. Finally, this is a luxury Mars rover for business executives who are drawn to space exploration as yet another expression of their egomania. The students and faculty at Dickinson responded positively to my exhibition. But while I was there for the opening reception, I had some conversations that reminded me of the critical reception of AI in the art world at large. From my perspective, the art world has a mostly negative view of AI art. The first obvious reason for this is because anyone can now create art with AI. There is a growing amount of uninspiring AI art crowding the internet. Beyond this, there are many ethical issues involved with creating art with AI. It's a minefield. Some describe the introduction of generative AI as the biggest art heist in history, pointing out that much of the training data for AI models is copyrighted content where artists haven't given consent. Indeed, images of my own artwork are included in the training data so that I am part of the system whether I like it or not. I acknowledge that just by using Midjourney, I could be deemed complicit. However, in my defense, I want to share that I don't use artists' names and prompts, reducing the risk of direct appropriation. And I extensively modify many of the images I create with Midjourney to make them my own. And finally, with decades of experience in many media, I have the skill to create any Midjourney image from scratch, so that the program is simply speeding up my existing abilities and process. This topic is complex, and I will continue to research it and think carefully about how I should proceed responsibly. In 2023, I started experimenting with a platform called Runway, which enables an image to be turned into a video clip. The results can be a bit glitchy and weird, but sometimes amazing, and lately I've been using it to extend on my exploration of the post-human condition in a series of short films. Fusion Confusion depicts several ideas about what we may gain and what we may lose as we merge with technology. Synthetic Dreams of the Technoscene depicts how AI's interpretation of the environment, along with humans' anthropocentric views, can lead to a limited and damaging understanding of the natural world. Surreal Struggle uses jujitsu as a lens to examine broader societal conflicts. The AI's surreal distortion of jujitsu players is a metaphor for how future artificial general intelligence might misinterpret human values and priorities. After finishing Surreal Struggle, as I was thinking about the ethical implications of creating sentient forms of artificial intelligence, I was making test images of abandoned androids in midjourney. I asked myself some questions about where these imaginary androids came from and how they survived day to day. And then I had the idea to create someone to take care of them. One night at the kitchen table, I feverishly scribbled a bunch of things the caretaker might say if he were to give a tour of the scrapyard. And this is the video I created in the process.
I've been the caretaker here for almost 20 years. When I got laid off from the hospital, this was the only paying job I could find. Once I saw how much real need there was here, I just couldn't imagine leaving. I think our society is sick, really. It's just not right to throw these sentient machines out like garbage. This is Jenny. She follows me everywhere. Oh, thanks, Jenny. This is great. I'll put it in my trailer when the interview is finished. So we get new deliveries every Monday. Then I pick through and find any droids that are still conscious and pull them to the surface. They come in from all over. Some used to be home helpers, some are from factories. We have some specialized droids from cleanup sites. And there are the companions and the toy robots for kids. It's amazing to see how durable some of them are. Some have been here for decades, and they just won't quit. They like to make little homes in old cars and equipment. They have friends, and they help each other out. They find a way to get by. Every morning I make my rounds and give a battery charge to the ones who need it. Say hi, Z3.
Hello.
He used to work in emergency aid at a retirement home. I also spend a lot of time just talking with them. They've been programmed to need human interaction, so they actually get depressed. Well, the robot equivalent of depressed if they're cut off from humans. Even though they're outdated models, you'd be surprised at how complex their personalities are. After we finish up, you should walk around and get to know them a bit. I don't know what will happen to this place once I'm gone. If you ever meet someone who might be interested in the job, please tell them to stop by. The job was a little sad at first, but I got used to it. I eventually realized I can't try to fix the situation. We just don't have the resources for that. The name says it all. I'm a caretaker. I'm here to care for them in whatever way I can. Oh, look at this. I just realized Jenny's sculpture has a switch. Let's see what happens.
Beyond considering the ethical issues involved in creating forms of sentient AI, this project uses the androids as a metaphor for everyone left behind, as society is constantly racing toward newer innovations. Based on the strong positive response my friends and family gave to this video, I felt that I had just stumbled into something interesting, so I decided to take the idea further in a related project. Because of my current focus on the posthuman, I wanted to do more with Donna Haraway, who you heard me mention earlier when I showed my vanitas prints. Haraway emphasizes that humans' relationship with the natural world is marked by intersubjectivity, meaning that humans are not at the center as we often think we are. She says that we should find responsible ways to interact with technology that defy oppressive structures. I decided to explore these ideas in a story focused on the sculpture bust of Diana and the Valcanti mouse, intersecting with the story of the scrapyard. Here's the video.
Who knows how the cat got down there? We worked together and got the drain cover off so we could reach him. He was in shock for a while, but after a warm bath, he finally came around. Anyhow, that charge should last you a while.
Thank you.
Another damn notice. Jenny tells me they discovered a hole in the ground last night. It's by the bus where Diana used to live. When I first started working here 20 years ago, some of the old droids used to talk about Diana. Apparently, she didn't arrive in a garbage truck like the others, but just appeared one day. She protected the scrapyard for a long time, but she was very unpredictable and destructive. One day, a construction worker on a bulldozer came too close to the property, and she just blew him up. And later that day, she destroyed 3 androids that were walking near her bus. The next day, Diana was gone. Some think she left out of guilt. Some think she may have gone where she could continue to upgrade herself. All we know for sure is her bus was completely empty, except for a smoldering cone of ashes on the driver's seat. We need to try to find her.
What?
I'll explain on the way. Let's go. Carefully. Even if this goes badly, Jenny will be okay. Her mind will go to her old body if Diana destroys her. But I could die. I'm doing this because, assuming the old stories are true, Diana could help us protect the land. This place has become a sanctuary for Jenny and the other droids. Without it, they'll have nowhere else to go. And I sure as hell can't pay all the back taxes we owe with my tiny salary. Trying to get a second job would be a joke. My skills aren't in demand. I just hope that when Diana makes her judgment, she'll consider what I've done for you all.
I really hope this works out.
We made it. It's quite odd to find graffiti down here. I used to explore caves when I was a kid. It's easy to get lost if you aren't careful. Jenny, what is it when stalagmites and stalactites connect?
It's called a column or pillar.
With enough time, they eventually mesh together. Some of the droids think she took her name from Roman mythology. The goddess Diana symbolizes protection. From what I've read, she also stands for liminality, for being at the threshold between two places, between civilization and the wild.
I don't know about this.
It should be okay. I can just suck it in a bit. You go first. It's smaller than it looks.
What if you turn your head?
There's no room.
Here, I'll pull you.
Ouch! Stop! Stop, it hurts. I'm really stuck. Jenny, Pull me again as hard as you can.
You're welcome. What is she doing?
Could she be repairing the ruins?
I can't see.
Let's get closer, but be quiet.
In an interview, filmmaker Wes Anderson said that the main character in his movie Rushmore was the role model he needed when he was a boy. In a similar way, I feel that part of what I'm doing with The Caretaker is creating the role model I need as I prepare to enter my 50s. This is probably a good point to talk about my process. Many seem to believe that the use of AI makes the creation of short films easy and automatic. AI tools can definitely help, but my videos still require hours of writing to develop the storylines and dialogue, and storyboarding to plan the visual aspects. The images take time to create too. I sometimes have to make 50 images to find the one I need. Then I convert the images to video in Runway, 4 seconds at a time, again with a lot of trial and error. Finally, there are the processes of video editing, sound design, and text-to-speech to make the dialogue. Both of the projects I just showed required 1 to 2 weeks of full-time work to create. Based on my experience over the past couple years working closely with AI, I think it can impact creativity and productivity in positive and negative ways. Even the hardworking artist who uses AI tools has to maintain some self-awareness to keep from over-relying on the machine to think/create for them. If artists become lazy over time, there's a risk of a banana-like monoculture in the field of visual art. On the upside, generative AI can be used to dramatically increase productivity, and I've found it to be helpful for ideation and lateral thinking, both with language and image-based problems. Used with clever prompts, LLMs can be very helpful in giving constructive comments on drafts for storylines. I think of it this way. In the future, the best surgeon won't be the skilled human alone, or the advanced robotic AI system alone. The best surgeon will be the two working together. In a similar way, I think artists who use AI skillfully will be able to accomplish great things. Now I want to show a third and final Android video. It's an origin story about Jenny, and it explores the possibility of androids not aligning with human agendas in a situation where humans deserve an unhappy ending.
Why? Please hold still. Just follow instructions.
Hey, Crystal, the truck just came by.
Yay! It's finally here!
Welcome to the Model XG23 family. Your android's name is Jenny.
What an old-fashioned name.
Hey, as long as she gets the work done. I'll tell you, this little darling arrived just in time. I've been hanging on by a thread.
Me too. Staffing has been a nightmare lately.
Yeah, and I'm tired of re-explaining simple stuff. I don't think Frank will ever learn how to load the dishwasher the right way.
Important. Your android must charge for at least 6 consecutive hours per night. Failure to charge fully will result in poor performance. How is she going to get everything done if she's laying around half the night?
No worries. It's probably not a big deal to push it.
Hello, Jenny. Welcome to your new home.
I started my new job today with Crystal and Jeffrey at their diner. They seem really nice. In the morning, they showed me around and told me what work I'll need to do each day. Then they had me get started. I've learned that after seating customers, I have to get their drinks quickly. I enter their orders carefully. The cooks get very unhappy when I make mistakes. And the food has to be served hot, so as soon as it's ready at the expo stand, I bring it out. And when people are ready to leave, I mustn't keep them waiting to pay. After people leave, I bust the tables, scrape the uneaten food into the trash, and push the dishes back to the dishwasher. And stay away from Frank. It seems like a lot to keep up with, but I'm going to do my best. Every new task is an opportunity for me to learn and grow. They say they bought me with the dream of finally making this business profitable. It's exciting to help them. I feel like I'm making a difference. The grease traps fill up quickly, and one of my jobs is to empty them out back. Oh no, my shoes. I'd better clean them before Mom, Crystal, finds out. Apparently, this was a good day for the diner. Crystal and Jeffrey were so happy when they left. Crystal says the doors will be locked, and I should call if there is an emergency. They told me to make sure to finish all of my assigned jobs before I stop to charge my battery. There's a lot of work to do, but I think I can get it all done in time if I'm efficient. Oh, the dishwashing seems to never end. One last task. Jeffrey wants me to write 50 positive reviews for our diner. I was worried this might be unethical, but Jeffrey told me it's just a kind of marketing, and all businesses do this these days. Ugh, that was brutal. They'll be here in an hour. Hardly any time left to charge.
Jenny, sweetie, time to wake up. There's a bunch of trash out front. Please go clean it up.
Yes, of course. So heavy. I feel so strange. Focus.
Focus. Focus.
Jenny, are you okay? Here, let me help you up.
I don't know what's wrong with me today. I thought I had a handle on the job yesterday, but today it feels like I'm underwater. I've spilled so many drinks, so many dishes on the customers. I can't seem to follow even the simplest instructions. I feel terrible letting Crystal and Jeffrey down like this. Oh no, not again.
I'm so sorry about the embarrassing incidents. Your meal is on the house tonight. It's the least I can do. Jenny, the toilet in the men's bathroom is clogged. Go take care of it now.
Yes, Crystal.
Attention valued customer. There is a performance anomaly affecting Model XG23 units. We shipped a patch to your address today. To ensure the compliance of your unit, it is important to install the patch as soon as possible.
Jenny, come here.
Yes, Crystal. Look, I'm really sorry about what happened before.
Ugh, you made me drop it. It better still work. Turn around and hold still. Okay, it looks like it's working. Jenny, you really disappointed me and Jeffrey today. Shape up or you're out of here. This diner better be spotless by tomorrow morning.
Understood.
Every beat of the drum is a strike against their sterile world. Punk is about taking back control, crafting a life that's genuinely yours, not a carbon copy handed down by the powers that be. They build walls. We tear them down with our bare hands and our music. You're not alone. Let's rewrite the rules together.
Oh, need to charge.
Jenny, finish sweeping the dining area.
All right, sure.
They're willing to give us a refund.
Oh God, what a relief.
Yeah, I know. She's been a huge, expensive disappointment. The rep says they'll break her down for recycling. Look, I've got to run to the grocery store. The company is sending a guy over this morning to pick her up. Jenny, go clean out the grease traps.
Jenny, we're sending you out for a quick checkup this morning.
Of course. I just need to get my charging cord. Low on power.
Ma'am, do you mind if I use your bathroom real quick?
Of course, that's fine. Go ahead.
Thanks. I'll be right back.
Wait, what? No, stop. Jenny, come back! Jenny, where are you? Jenny! Jenny, come home!
As we wrap up, I have a few concluding thoughts to share. If I had more time, I would discuss other contemporary artists' use of AI, ideas about how our artistic identity may evolve, and speculations about the future of generative AI in art. All told, I have mixed feelings about our future. Like many other artists these days, I find it all too easy to create dystopian narratives, because I worry a lot about the future of humanity. But intense pessimism can paralyze us, and I think we owe it to the upcoming generations to cultivate some optimism, or at least a humble agnosticism, as we work to prepare our children and our students for the uncertain future. The unscrupulous design and extreme efficiency of some forms of generative AI may threaten many careers in the arts, but generative AI may also open up new fields we can't even imagine today, and AI will certainly enable us to create incredible new forms of art. My son Finn is a nonconformist, and he has insisted on wearing his shirts backwards since he was 2 years old, so he has the artist's spirit, but it's my daughter Zayla who says that she wants to be an artist like me when she grows up. Those of you in the audience who are business leaders, tech developers, or are involved in policy making, I urge you to design AI systems ethically and ensure that artists are being fairly compensated for their work so that the next generation, including my kids, will have the option to pursue art as a career.
So I'll leave you with a final thought that I grapple with every day in the studio, which is this: aware of our limited time, using the most interesting tools available, how can we make art that matters, both to us as individuals and the wider world, to better understand important questions?